Greetings, Commanders! I'll wait for the first person to say in chat. It seems that Twitch itself is having issues with the service right now, so I apologise if you've missed anything. We're trying to catch up where we left off. I just tried a couple of things on Twitch, and there seems to be some issues with it, so I don't think it's my end. I know it's usually my end that crashes, but it doesn't seem to be the way now. That's it. Hello, black screen.
Yay!
Black screen. So, yep. So there's if you do refresh, I'll just let everyone know in the text chat. Everyone can see text chat. Should be back. There we go. Awesome. See if we can get back into the game. So I just docked in the meantime. I'm not sure how much people missed, but the thing that you just brought up, Ian, wasn't it? Was if they are going to move to a Mac platform, the assumption is they're going to be supporting OpenGL.
Yes.
They must do something like that. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, I mean, if you look at Steam on Linux, they have some sort of wrapper that sort of translates DirectX functions to OpenGL on the fly, which is pretty amazing.
It should, it should definitely be possible. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't understand how they're going to do that. But sounds like they can turn that around in three months or less. So fair play to them. That's it's going to be good to see when it goes.
Interesting. Ryan Extreme 143 says new stuff on Galnet.
Oh, let's have a quick look at this. Oh yes. Yes, we'll read that off in a second then. I'll leave that up on the screen in case anyone wants to read that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's good to see that the Mac support's coming. That's really, really awesome. I think that there is a fundamental lack of good games on the Mac platform, so it's great to see some great games go out on there. It's unfortunate, really, because I don't think there's anything wrong with the platform. It's just that people just don't. When it's a minority market, people don't consider supporting it. But I think it's great that they're just going, yep, we can do Mac, and we're going to get it. So awesome.
If they do Mac, they can probably do Linux as well.
Yeah, imagine they probably could.
I hope so.
We'll see. Ooh, that would be interesting.
Linux fan here.
Oh, Mrs. Crash has got the violin out. She's saying about how we've got the second room that I stream in, and she's not allowed in. It's not like that. It's not like I've got a lock on the door. It's not that bad. Here we go. So let's do your Galnet news update. Preparation for the Emperor's wedding. Gain pace. Arissa Lagny has shown the plans for her parents' wedding on the 22nd of this month. Ooh, including a sneak peek at the bridesmaid dresses. That's an interesting little tidbit there. 22nd of this month, so something is going to happen. And we'll get on to why that might be important in a minute. Rumour has it that the federal president and shadow president will both be invited, although many expect them to politely decline. I bet they will. The ceremony is to take place within the imperial palace, and the emperor and his new wife will remain in specially prepared ornate travel chairs throughout, as the emperor is not expected to be fully recovered by the time of the wedding. Markets rose dramatically after this news, as it would seem that the emperor's illness is not as bad as many commentators have made out. Interesting stuff. Now, why I bring up that the 22nd of the month for the wedding, that is interesting, because one of the things that was raised in the newsletter this week was they are going to be showing at PAX South in San Antonio, Texas, from the 25th to the 23rd to the 25th. So literally a day after that news event. That's interesting. I wonder if there's some new little thing that they're going to feed into that to show people at the event. That would be cool. I'd like to see that. You heard it here first.
DJ Torgen, 22nd planetary landings confirmed. We're going to be able to land at the palace. No.
Whilst that would be incredibly cool, I doubt it very much. Still, that's not as bad as the estimate I saw. Literally 3 in the afternoon, literally 3 hours after on the 16th of December when the game was launched, I saw a thread pop up in the forum saying, do you think we'll see planetary landings in January? It's like whoa! It's like here's the game. When's the expansion? And I was like,
haven't you got enough?
It's like, here's one galaxy. What else do you want? Yeah, but I don't think that's way too soon. That's way too soon.
Nope.
So yes, I think we showed everything I wanted to show in the Cobra. I didn't show the frame shift wake scanner, which is kind of those incidental things. So I'll leave it open to the chat for a few more minutes. If anyone wants me to do a bit more combat and hopefully show off the wake scanner and things like that with the Eagle, if not, I'll jump back into the Cobra and we'll do a bit of trading. Just catching up on there. Ineopod just popped in to say thanks for being there for Kate. It was amazing 2 weeks. Oh no, it was awesome to see her do that. I mean, I didn't want to get in the way of that. I was glad that she did all that stuff for the thing. I think she raised nearly £7,000 for the charity, which a special effect charity, which was absolutely brilliant. So I'm so chuffed. That's what I love about the community. Is like every time there's something like this, it's like let's raise money for this charity or that charity. You know, it's absolutely awesome. Like we did for the launch event as well. It was like Frontier weren't after money for themselves. It's like no, let's raise as much as we can for this charity. And they're like, yes, brilliant. Excellent, great fun.
Yeah, definitely, great work there.
Dobbo, interesting fact there. The next set of mobile graphics chips are likely to be equivalent of last year's graphics. You're using a GTX 660. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how things are going to change over the next year. I mean, some of the things we've seen from CES as well. Frontier were at CES showing off the game at the Mad Catz booth, which was awesome. But yeah, some of the things you're going to see like in the mobile space and tablet things and stuff like that, it's going to become a lot more possible to play games that you wouldn't normally consider on the various mobile platforms. I've seen, Elite Dangerous on I think it was a Surface Pro 3, which is pretty impressive work. It was on minimum settings, running about 20 frames a second, but that's pretty cool that you can just go around with something that small and play the game. That's excellent.
Definitely. I just thought of something. Oh, look, someone's getting exploded. That guy who does the Flight Assist Office series. I can't pronounce his name.
Isonona, I think it is.
That guy.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing Flight Assist off constantly?
I've tried it for a little while, and it is good fun. But I must admit, it takes a lot of practice, and I think if I did it more, I think I'd be, I'd get used to it, and I think I'd kind of fall into a groove of doing it. But I must admit, it adds a whole extra level to the game, which I don't think I would enjoy very much. I mean, I'm doing Flight Assist now just to connect. It's nice to do little kind of fancy moves and things like that, but I think in combat it just makes the game so hard is to get to that point where I don't enjoy it. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those things like turning ABS off on your car. If you were a professional driver and very, very good, which I admit I'm not very, very good at this game. I'm pretty good. I'm not as good as Isonona. He is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I think if I was good enough, I would enjoy the challenge of doing it. But to be honest, I'm not that great. I'm really not that good with it.
I've docked once with Flight Assist off, and
yes.
It wasn't pretty, but I did it.
It's hard work. I did it with. Did you do the rotational correction off as well?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's really, really difficult, but it's really satisfying. It's like one of those challenges. You've got to try it to see whether you can do it. But once you've done it, you're like, whew, never again.
Yeah, but I mean, every time I look at his video when he's in combat, I'm like, he looks so much more maneuverable than with Flight Assist on.
Yeah, he really manages to maintain the control when he's doing it in Flight Assist off, and it's really cool that there's that level of like professional control you can get to it. It's like some of the racing sims you can see where you can really tweak and tune your car to be like a perfect setup the way you want it and do some crazy things that other people can't do. It's nice that it's there, but I must admit I'm just not good enough to do it well. I'm somewhere about somewhere between 80-20 and 60-40, that sort of range. I occasionally do it when I'm in combat to spin around and get the drop on someone flying backwards and things like that, doing the odd maneuver, but I can't do it all the time. It's very hard, very hard.
It hurt my brain. I was like, you start to overcorrect really, really quickly, and just lose control. Can't keep it up. My mind just goes, no, not doing it.
Yeah, it is hard work. So I've just found a high energy wake, so I'm going to approach this and switch over to my wake scanner. Deploy my hard points on here. Here we go. So, how close do I need to get?
I've never used one of those before.
Yeah, so it fits in the utility mount. Oh no, the wake has just disappeared. I took too long to. Right, so you've got to do it quick. So it only really works on the high energy wakes. If you see a low energy wake, that's where someone's either dropped out of Super Cruise or gone into Super Cruise, so you can't scan those. There's no point. You literally just jump into Super Cruise and chase them, or if you are following someone in Super Cruise and they drop out to normal combat speeds, you can target their low energy wake, get within 1,000 kilometers, and you drop in behind them, and you can carry on chasing them down, which is really, really cool. Hopefully I can demo some of that in a second. So I'm hoping, can I get close enough? I have set my wake scanner on number 1. See if I can get close enough to do it. I think you have to get within about 1,000 kilometers to scan the wake. Yeah, and if you hit the hyper jump button when you've got a wake targeted, you'll get the little notification up in the top right corner to say the cloud is not scanned, so you cannot follow that person yet until you scan it. Do you know, I think I'm going to have to adjust my modules. I've not played around with this yet, so let's...
I've got another question.
There we go. Carry on. Yep, carry
on. Sometimes when I try to enter Super Cruise, I get like a message in the top right, disruptive something with a number.
Oh, disruptive mass.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So you get a
I do actually go into Super Cruise, but I just get that message before. I don't understand why.
Yeah. So when you're charging your FSD, you need to be outside of the range of any kind of mass which would give you the mass lock indication, which is roughly there on my screen somewhere. There we go. Green screen. So yes, you get the mass locked indicator, which is where your FSD is basically completely prevented from. I did scan it. There we go. Oh no, sorry, I'm being an idiot. Yeah, so you're completely prevented from doing, jumping into Super Cruise or hyper jumping at all when the mass lock indicator is on. Sorry, concentration.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have jumped.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. That's fine. So yes, you're completely locked. If you get that indication of something, you get that disrupted by a certain mass by a factor of 10. It basically means it's going to take 10 times as long for your drive to charge because there's a nearby mass. Normally a large ship or another player near to you. So it kind of interferes with your FSD. It doesn't allow you to charge. If you've got enough space between you and that ship, the factor will drop down until it goes back to 0, and then your drive will charge as normal. So.
There you go.
Hey, greetings,
didn't know that.
Elite versus Gaming. that's my public service anyway. See, that's what I mean. I enjoy sharing the little things like that because I still think the game's got that difficult learning curve for a lot of people, and it definitely needs that kind of more community videos and things like that to demo these kind of things. I think to help show these kind of things to people. So I have just followed him in. Fortunately, I didn't know who it was, but it may be this guy. See, no, I've actually done it before, and this kind of brings us on to one of the other topics in the newsletter, the Amil's story of piracy. I'm assuming that's Commander Amil. It was picked up from Reddit this week, and there's a wonderful kind of story of his exploits in piracy and getting into it and doing it properly, and that's what I love. Now I won't read it all out on the stream because I think most people have got it there in the newsletter if they want to see it and read it out fully. But I think it's fantastic that he's completely understood the purpose of piracy. Finding players, interdicting them, not attacking them straight away, saying hey drop your cargo or I'll shoot. Giving them the opportunity to actually go away and things like that. I think it's wonderful that he's got the message of what piracy is supposed to be about, and he's using all of the mechanics to him. I think he's talking there. I've experienced at least, seeing someone in Super Cruise, interdicting them, dropping out and getting into a little bit of combat. They get to about 50% hull, they're running away. I scan their cloud, chase them to the next system, and I see them running around in Super Cruise trying to get to the next station, and chasing them down, interdicting them again, fighting them, and finally winning the bounties on their head and things like that. I think that's awesome that he's got that. He's understood what it's about, what's fun, and just dived into it, and he's done it the proper way, which is awesome. So I encourage anyone to just read through that excerpt in the newsletter. It's awesome.
Not only the guy, but the other pilots in the scenario. A must-read, indeed.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. So yeah, definitely. I won't spoil it. I won't spoil any of the story elements on that. So go away and have a quick read of that. Psychocare, any tips on combat you'd like to fight more, but you're tired of being an amazing kick-ass pilot? Any tips? Retire. Go into trading. You're obviously too good for all of us, so you should find something else to enjoy.
No, I got a better tip for him. Dump all weapons except the mining laser and do combat.
Yeah, you want a challenge? Do it right.
Oh, with flight assist off.
Yes, absolutely. Right, let's see if we can jump back to the LFT system. Get back to Sullivan Dock quickly. Now we've chased that guy down. So yeah, so that's a little kind of intro into the frameshift wake scanners that you can play around with there. It's really great for chasing people down. Unfortunately, at the moment, you know, the big bounties that you go for, like hunting people, the assassination missions, you know, there's usually a big anaconda, and they don't feel threatened by your presence, so they'll just sit there until you destroy them. But yeah, when you get like some of the pirates in it, you know, he's in a equally matched ship to you. Sometimes they'll decide to run away, and I think that chase across multiple systems is really fun. You know, it takes a little bit longer, but it is really good fun to do, chasing them down and finally getting those bounties.
Indeed. Yeah, they don't like me at Sullivan Dock anymore. They, when I left last time, they said, "See you in hell, freebooter." That's lovely.
Yeah, no, I've had similar problems in other systems before I cleared my save. But yeah, no, it's nice that you see those variations, things changing. You know, like at the moment now in the LFT system, you know, a lot of targets are showing up green for me because I've become allied with them. So I keep seeing these NPCs and the security vessels and everything are allied with me. But yes, I've seen it go the other way as well. When you go into a system, you see a bunch of red targets, and you think, yeah, this is going to be hard.
Come on, guys, you failed 2 missions and they hate you.
Yeah, it is a little bit biased, I think, at the moment. It may need a bit more balance. And Psycho Cow is definitely, he's very familiar with this, with his own system becoming hostile, I think, virtually within a few days. Just, you know, naughty boy. But but no, it's interesting to see, because I've seen some people on the forums report that they even get denied docking clearance and things like that.
Wow.
It's like, no, get out. You know, if you're hostile with a certain faction, you know. And I think that's the interesting thing to see, is that, you know, over the months from release onwards, you know, you're going to see these variations, things changing, systems getting hostile to you, getting friendly with you, these factions really kind of changing, and the dynamic of the universe is going to be a lot more different in the next couple of months as it was from release day. So, you know, I think Frontier's done the right thing to get it out to us, let us play with the universe. It's going to take that blank canvas and draw this interesting kind of backdrop from our interactions and what the factions are doing, and setting the stage the way that we want it by, you know, by what we do, you know. And then, you know, maybe on the 22nd some more interesting things are going to happen on that canvas. So stay tuned, folks.
Actually, the friend I was telling you about, he was just talking to me before we started the stream. He said his Viper is stored at at a station, and he can no longer get in the station without getting attacked.
Oh no!
So we can't get back. So I said to me, "You have to go in cold."
Yeah, maybe you can sneak in there. Maybe you can sneak in. But I mean, that's an interesting thing. I mean, I never even considered that as a possibility. So, yeah. Ooh, I wonder how you get around that.
How do you get back in to increase your rep again?
Yeah, absolutely. I know, you know, some factions kind of, they spread over into neighboring systems and things like that, so that might be a way that you can kind of do enough to get back and do it, but that's pretty punishing. Bribe them, Saturnine just said, hey, yeah, that's a good way of doing it. ePilot, ePilot 007's got a thing. The status page is now live. I don't have the link available, but I knew that was something that was being talked about this week. Now that the guys are back in office, they're trying to be as open as they can and give all this information. So one of the things they're putting up is a server status page, so you can see when they're down for maintenance and things like that. I know that there's now a daily maintenance plan. I think it's like 10-15 minutes every morning GMT, which is pretty good when you consider, you know, I've played World of Warcraft, and on their patch Wednesdays, you know, you often locked out for the entire day when there's a big patch and things like that. So it's you know, I think that's a pretty good compromise there. 10 minutes you know, every day is pretty good. Dobbo, by how can they then deliver the exploration mechanics talked about before release, breakdowns, and like given how easy exploration is now? I'm not sure I follow you there, sorry mate. How can they deliver the exploration mechanics talked about before release, given how easy exploration is now? So I think if you're referring to some of the systems that they were talking about, like wear and tear and everything on the ship. I've not seen anyone suffer, death far out from human space from wear and tear or anything like that. So I don't know if that needs to be balanced. I know obviously we saw someone who managed to reach the center of the galaxy very early on in the gamma phase, I think it was, and I think for a lot of people that kind of everyone's like, oh, they've met the ultimate goal in exploration and that's it, there's nothing more to do now. But I think that's a bit naive in a lot of ways. There is so much to explore out there. If you thought the only goal for exploration was to meet the center of the galaxy, I'm sorry. Take a look at the galaxy map and pick a direction. There is literally a limitless supply of things to see out there. Every time I go into the galaxy map, I spot something in the corner which I think, ooh, I have to head out there and have a look one day. So my bucket list is growing ever bigger of things I want to do and see. So there's a lot to do. I mean, I've heard rumors of people wanting to circumnavigate the galaxy, which that is an undertaking.
That's crazy.
And I'd love to see what comes of that. Recently I spotted, I think it was the Bubble Nebula, which is about 7,000 light years. I'm sure other people have got out there, but I just want to get out there. I want to go see it with my own eyes. So that's an interesting challenge. I will do that one day. Probably not on stream, because I don't think anyone wants to see me jumping for 7,000 light years. That might take a while.
Abacus asked, do we know when we'll see some progress in LFT-133? Any news?
Yeah, I wish I knew myself. Again, I'll repeat, from earlier on, I apologise for everyone who's put time into it, helping me out with it. I've been putting loads and loads of hours in as well. I did check with the guys. They assured me that things should work. The thing at the moment is this UI interface I'm showing on the screen at the moment, it still shows 54% influence. But the current state has changed, and we have got a little blue arrow next to it suggesting that it's going up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether we're going to see much of a change. I wish I knew myself. I've tried to ask the guys at Frontier, but I've got no answer on it yet. So fingers crossed we're doing the right thing. I mean, I've gained faction reputation, and the influence does seem to be changing. The state's changing, so things are happening. I just think the UI is not feeding it back to us yet. So.
There's no need for you to apologise.
I know. I feel bad because I've said, "Hey guys, let's do this," and I've got down there. I've been, doing all these things, and there's loads of people out there been helping me out and putting, dozens of hours into it as well. And I really do appreciate the effort everyone's been doing. And I think, the same was true for the LU system, IUGH system. Everyone was putting time into that, and I don't know whether everything was counted correctly on that, which is a shame if it hasn't been. But don't lose faith. Don't lose faith.
I'm sure they'll understand.
Al Knuck, which gamepad you use? I am using the X52 Pro from Cytec, which is an awesome stick. I started back in the early alpha using the Xbox 360 controller, and it was great. It was really easy to pick up and play with that controller. Saw a lot of people were recommending this stick, so I gave it a go. For the first week, I was like, this is too complicated. I can't use this. It's just so many buttons. But after about a week, I was like, I love this thing. I'm never giving it back. So yeah, so I think it's a great stick. But there's lots of good sticks out there.
I had the same experience. I also started on a 360 controller, and when I switched to this current flight stick, it was a totally different game for me. I was like, holy. Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, no, it is really, really cool. And like I said, I mean, Shorty, my sister, she's got the Thrustmaster T-Flight Hottest control stick. Like, she is more than happy with that. She was giggling when she got hold of that box. I was like, yay! I was like, and she couldn't wait to play around with it. So yeah, so there's a lot of great sticks out there. I'm not saying you have to get this one particular model. It's just this for me it's a nice balance of all the things on there. XLG47, you've watched Fiery Toe do that. Yeah, I love watching Fiery Toe's exploration things. I often, I've got it down in the corner there whilst I'm working away, and I'm like, oh, where's he now? How did he get there? It's like one minute he's at one end of the galaxy, and then the next minute he's found another cluster of stars, and he's exploring those. So it's absolutely awesome. I love watching his exploration on it. So maybe I will do some exploration soon.
And then the next minute he gets to a station and sells the data for 2.5 hours and makes 9 million credits.
Yeah, I think I've seen some notices off. I think it's Howard Chalkley. He does a lot of great work with the networking code and stuff, and he has mentioned that they've considered a sal all data option, and they're looking at trying to bring that back at some point, but they don't know when it might go in. The problem with it is each sal operation requires a transaction to go up to the server and confirm that you've got it, and if you're the first person, and and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of work that goes on every time you hit that sal transaction button. DJ Tartan there just saying a sal all button. Yeah, it was there in the early gamma, but I think what happened is it just caused this sudden flood of all of these transactions, like and it caused some issues on the server end. So they're looking at that, I think, to do some restructuring on optimizing those calls. Commander Malik there, any chance we might get more tools for tracking exploration, like a filter that lets you see where you've been? Do you know, I would, and a path you've taken, yeah, I would love to see that in the galaxy map.
Well, that would be cool.
There's oftentimes I've gone in here and I'm like, have I been to, 2 mass 64578-AB, I'm like, I have no idea. It's like the names are just so unrecognizable and difficult to remember.
Yeah.
And I think we do need something like a virtual notepad. Pen and paper does the trick at the moment, but realistically we need something to do that. Whilst I'm in the galaxy map, I want to give a shout out to this now. So the other two things in the news there were some great discoveries, real life discoveries from the Kepler team recently. The Kepler 442 star system. Another planet was found around it. It was Kepler, interestingly named Kepler 442b. They found evidence for another Earth-like planet, and it is currently the most likely Earth-like candidate ever. It's the closest match. It's only about 10% bigger than Earth, and it's right in like the Goldilocks zone. So it's a good temperature gradient and everything, which is absolutely awesome. That's really great news. And I've heard Michael Brooks talk about it already. That the data for this star they're looking at, and at some point soon in the future they are going to look at updating that and putting it in, which is great. They're taking that real up-to-date scientific data as it's happening and adding it into the game and improving it.
Yeah, that's just brilliant.
Brilliant, absolutely excellent.
Attention to detail, that's what it's all about.
Any more questions on there? Talking about Shorty, yes, she is feeling a lot better now. Thank you, Saturnine. Yeah, hopefully she will be back on the stream soon. She pretty much lost her voice, I think, the other week, so she couldn't help at all. So yes, hopefully she'll be back on soon. Awesome, Fiery Toads, but I shouldn't be looking at pictures. Toad, you're distracting me. You got a black hole. That is awesome. Yeah, I love the way that the black hole kind of effect, it warps the view as you get close to it. You get that kind of gravitational lensing effect to the light next to it. And the other star I should mention, it was down in the newsletter here, is this one down here, Kepler 438b down here. Now you can find these stars using the Kepler Object of Interest catalog, which you can look up on a wiki or anything on a website, and the two stars that are going to have the planets added to them soon are these ones. So you've got the KOI space 4742. That is the official catalogue number for this star. That is where that thing's going to be. Currently about 4,000 light years out, so I don't think we're going to be going there anytime soon. But that's where that planet should be. So that'd be awesome when we see that updated on there.
Another thing I'd like to talk about is I visited some systems, and the closest starport is like 10,000 light years away or something. I'd love to be able to jump into a system and actually pick which planet and or star, if there are multiple stars, I jump to.
Yes, I've seen this pop up a few times on the forum actually. It seems to be another one of those contentious issues which has raised its head again. And for the benefit of the doubt, people, I mean, not everyone was around during the early days, so no one's going to know about this. But it was talked about a lot during the early DDF phase, and I think the decision was finally made to not do that based on the feedback from players who wanted the freeform flight and being able to fly around the system. So I thought it was a good idea. I mean, the initial proposal for in-system travel was to allow you to have these kind of mini jumps that you could, you could pick the planet you wanted to go to, you warm up your FSD, and you do a mini jump within the system from A to B. That was the initial travel proposal that Frontier put forward, and it was almost like unanimously slammed by everyone in the community because they wanted that free-form flight of going around in Super Cruise and doing what I want, and that kind of thing. And that's when the idea for Super Cruise was born, because everyone turned around and said, no, we don't want this point-to-point in-system travel, because it would feel too much like glass box levels going from A to B, and it wouldn't give you that free flight mechanic that everyone wanted. Yeah. So that's the point where it got shot down. So I think it was interesting that later on, and it's not just in recent terms, but in different phases when more players came on and beat alpha and beta and whatnot, it brought up the topic again. Why can't we, these really big systems, particularly Alpha Centauri? And there we go, newsflash. Do not go to Alpha Centauri. Every time someone mentions that system, Hutton Orbital gets further away. It is about quarter of a light year away from the drop point at the moment. It takes a good 40 minutes, I think, to get there. It's maximum Super Cruise speed, which is insane. But yeah, I mean, you kind of learn that these are the places you don't want to go. You don't go there. You really don't go there. Oh, there we go, exceeding G-force limits there. I didn't know you could do that until I bought Class A thrusters for an Eagle, which is really cool. I'll do that again in case anyone spotted it. Boost and rapid turn. Oh, there we go. Red out, red out, red out, and the ship limits its maximum turn rate so I do not die. That's good fun. I love that. Yeah, so these in-system travel things were kind of killed in the offset. I'm not saying it will never come back. What I thought was an interesting compromise which came up through a conversation. I think it was on the forum. I read it, but I like the idea of being able to buy a secondary module that takes up space in your ship, which is like an advanced FSD targeting module. That before you make that big jump into a system like Alpha Centauri, you can have a sub target. So you can say, actually, I'm going to select this system as the parent. Oh
yeah,
but
that would be awesome.
Yeah, so hey, actually, I want to jump nearer to Proxima Centauri, so please, kind of give me that extra little bit of advanced targeting there. I think that would be an interesting compromise. It would be that kind of like, if you want it, you have to sacrifice an internal slot to have one. So people who want that kind of fast travel option effectively in game kind of got to take a little bit of a hit equipment wise to do it, but it gives everyone the option. I'm not completely adverse to giving everyone every option they really want, but I think it has to be balanced and introduced into the game in such a way that it doesn't break the mechanics of there, because I mean the Super Cruise, the whole idea of Super Cruise, the mechanic of it is to get you traveling around so that you see events, you see those signal sources, you see people traveling through Super Cruise next to you and think, oh, should I interdict him, should I chase him down, should I check that source out, that kind of thing. That's where a lot of the gameplay is. And
definitely, yeah,
and the whole idea of this is primarily a space travel game, so there's gonna be some space travel in it, and space is big, so it's it kind of, I don't want to see it completely just chopped out of the game because it spoils the entire point. To be fair,
no, I think if I had the choice, I'd probably leave that setting off, for instance, but. It's just something that occasionally annoys me if I jump into a system. Oh wow, I have to travel 300,000 light years.
No, and like I said, I think having some kind of mechanic to allow you to work around it if you want to, so players can still play it the way they're supposed to play it, but you can kind of make that sacrifice and say, hey, actually, I don't want to travel 2 minutes to get to those systems which are 100,000 light seconds out. I'll sacrifice one of my cargo bays and I'll have another module. I think that would be an interesting sacrifice.
Yes.
Rusty Swords, stop saying Alpha Centauri! It's now 1.5 light years away. Yes, exactly. Every time someone says Hutton Orbital, it just creeps away another inch. So.
Yep. I had one more thing I'd like to
go ahead.
Discuss. I had noticed in combat, like, power management is a big thing in the game.
Yes.
As everybody knows. And I've got it set on my the hat on my flight stick. I'm frantically trying to adjust power management when I'm fighting, and I'd like to see the ability to create presets for those, for like how you want to configure your ship when you enter combat or
it's like,
free flight.
Yeah, like max engines, max shields, just kind of switch to them.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I've done it with voice attack now, but I thought maybe it would be a good idea to have it. Actually, you could assign keys to a certain setup.
Maximum pair and things like that. Yeah, I think that would be an interesting thing to add on. I don't think that would be too difficult in terms of adding that into the game at all.
But would it break gameplay? The whole idea of power management is that you actually have to think about what you're doing when you entering a certain situation.
I mean, oftentimes I'm kind of, when I get into that and I need to make a quick maneuver, I'm like tap tap tap, and slap it up as quickly as it go to the maximum engines, and then when I get behind the target and start shooting, I'm like tap 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 all the way to weapons. So I'm often not thinking about balancing it. One pip here and 3 there and that kind of thing. I'm quite often just max here, max there. So yeah, I think it's nice to have the ability to individually select it if you find a nice balance. But a key binding for max power I think wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Let's jump to the Ursitoire system. I can never pronounce that one correctly.
Let's see.
So
this one might be interesting for Toad, actually. I was thinking about it the other day.
Okay, yeah.
If you're exploring, you can't actually see how much you've made on your current run until you get to a station, right?
Yeah, I don't think until you actually get to a station and have a look at the menu. No, I don't think there is any way of estimating how much it's worth, to be fair. And that's,
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, I don't think there would be any technical reason why that couldn't happen. I think it might just be we need like an extra UI or something, or an element in the UI to say how much your exploration data is currently. I mean, even if it's like a grand total, saying here everything you've collected is this much. I think that would be a good one.
That way you know how much you can lose if you die.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you get to that point, it's like, 1 million credits, I better head back now. Yeah.
Don't want to lose that money,
yeah, that's definitely an interesting one. But yeah, I mean, there are a couple of threads on the forum. I think there's one in particular that deals with suggestions for incremental improvements and things like that. So yeah, definitely, I think if we can, I'll hunt that one out and I'll pass it on to you and Toad, and we can keep adding things to that. It may already be in there. I mean, there's some really good suggestions coming from guys in the community anyway. So yeah. There we go. A few more points on the newsletter. I think we need to go through. So yes, and there is now an RSS feed for the Galnet News, which is really cool. So it means you can stay up to date, up to the second information of what's going on in the game, which is really cool. I think that's just that's another one of those things where they're kind of trying to get more and more information right out and to you as a player, so you can you know what's going on. As much as the Galnet News is there and it's available in the game, I think a lot of people miss it and don't realise it's there. And it's you like we've seen tonight with that information now. The Emperor's wedding is set for the 22nd of January, so something's going down. Set that date in your calendar, guys, because something's going to happen there. That's important. It's those little things that I think it's nice to see we're getting more opportunities to get that information out to people and like in your face, so you kind of realise that there's some interesting mechanics going on. And Frontier are not going to be kind of saying it's like hey, easy money to be made in this system. They're going to be subtly introducing it to us in ways. So we've got to read between the lines on these things.
Dopo asks, doesn't the value go down if the data is old? So someone could return before you and kill your income from exploring.
Yeah, so he's got a good point there. So I think there was something mentioned early on in the exploration data that if you were the first person to find and discover an Earth-like planet, that if you were the first human player to come back with that exploration data, that you would get a bonus for being the first person to do it. I don't know if that mechanic was implemented in that way. I think there may be kind of an exponential fall off to it, so even the second, third, and fourth people may get a significant jump in credit for it. Whether or not it kind of falls off exponentially, I don't know. I don't think enough people have gone to the same systems and come back with data to actually uncover whether that mechanic is in and working at the moment. So I will try and find out though, because I'm interested in that myself. There's a lot of kind of popular locations, like I mentioned earlier. It's sort of like VY Canis Majoris. I really want to go there because it's a cool kind of bullet point on the list. It's one of those places that everyone wants to go, like the Pole Star. Everyone wants to go to Polaris. So there's those places like that. I don't know whether you're going to not get as much exploration data for being the 200th player to get there, but I think it would be a shame if you didn't get that. So
yeah.
Commander DJ Targent, you think the Thargoids are going to crash the wedding? I will hold you to that, Commander. I want to see that as well. That would be really cool. Landing on the lawn outside the wedding. Hundreds of guests were killed in the onslaught as Thargoids bombed from the orbit.
Oops.
That was like pure speculation, folks. I'm gonna.
Yeah. Well, we don't trust you anymore, Kerrash. You got inside information. You could be telling us something completely different just to take us off the track. I don't know.
Yes, everyone head down to Akenar because I'm going somewhere else.
Take all your trade routes.
But and on the subject, actually, I think that's the final thing in the news there, which is an interesting little news item there that people may not have picked up in the Luluwala system. Federal warships have arrived in it right now. I'll put the name in the chat there. So that is going to be an interesting place to go to if Federal warships are going there. Tensions are high. The Empire is not particularly happy with the Federation showing up with their big capital ships there. So that's an interesting one to watch out for. And I like how there's these subtle little things that, again, going into some of these news feeds on the RSS and in the Galnet News and stuff like that. You've got to keep your eyes peeled for them because that's where the interesting information is. Definitely some combat zones going to be popping up around there.
Well, that's the brilliant thing about the game. They've implemented these systems so that they can give these little hints and create stories and really build something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is up to us to go and find and exploit that information. So get out there and do make those meta games up. Do the interesting threads on the forum showing you those things. Oh, here we go. Oh, I want to. Damn! I can't get rid of this mission without. Damn it! I'm gonna have to accept that mission to remove it, and unfortunately, that is going to go against the independence of LFT 133.
No!
Oh, they're gonna hate me. Oh dear. Sorry, folks. That's the only way I can clear that mission from my log. Unfortunately, they wanted me to. Another faction wanted me to smuggle slaves, and I went around looking for someone who would give me an alternative. Reward for not smuggling the slaves, and I actually wanted to free the slaves. And I did that, and I freed them, and now I've gone and got a little bit of neg rep against the independents. Whoopsie! Sorry. Yes.
Actually, when I was at Sullivan Dock, I got a naval mission.
Oh yes, I've seen a few of those because it's a Federation station primarily, so you will get the naval progression missions. Have you completed any yet?
No, I accepted the mission, and I had to get like 4 personal weapons or something.
Yes, they are well worth doing. Absolutely.
And I searched for hours. I could not find any.
Ah, right. So
I ran out of time.
So I did see someone say this on their pen and paper. I think it was Saturnine actually said pen and paper. What century are you living in, Crash? Well, I have got post-it notes after post-it notes. I literally have a giant stack of floppy disk shaped post-it notes, which I love. I love those. It was a present from someone, from my mum. Yeah, I'm embarrassed now. But yeah, so where was it? Combat stabilizers, personal weapons. I'm not sure if consumer tech. I have not got anything listed down. I had to go Google this I searched on the forums, and I found someone said there was personal weapons available in a system near the edge of the Empire. So yeah, you can head down there and find them. They are about if you needed them, and it's well worth doing it because in this screen here you can see my. Federation reputation has gone up to warrant officer, which I did purely just by doing these kind of coincidental missions where they said, hey, head on up to the Beta Hydri system and things like that, and it's like double bonus. It's like I get these permits, I can get to all of these systems now, plus the Federation have got me up to the warrant officer rank now, which is really cool. It's just part of it.
That's cool. I think I'm still neutral. Like full on no influence at all. Oh well. Well, yeah. Keep working at that. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, I never intended to raise my reputation with the Federation. It's just I was in the LFT system. I was just doing the missions, and occasionally they popped up, and I thought, well, I'll do this one, and it just kind of came out as the woodwork. And this is where I'm kind of like, I'm not. I am a little bit gutted that some of the work that we've been putting in has not worked for the system, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I've got all this faction reputation. I've ranked up. I've made loads of credits doing the missions and things like that. So it's like I've not lost out entirely. I mean, it's not all bad, really. So
I guess not.
Cut my losses.
Any more questions?
Vonatar! Sorry, Vonatar. I was just about to say how we were going to wrap up soon, just as you're joining in the chat. I'm sorry. I apologise. But yeah, I think you've got a few more questions on. Have you got any more things we wanted to go over, Ian? Any other bits?
My personal list of stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, do you actually use voice attack, Kerrash?
I have got it set up and configured and ready to go, but what I found was, unfortunately, on the live stream, I talk way too much. So literally, I had it in the corner of the screen the one time when I was first showing it, and it was picking up every single word I was saying, and it was like this huge dialogue was floating up the screen in the corner, like all this stuff it was picking up me saying, and it just I couldn't use it whilst I was live streaming. So it is nice to use when I'm just chilling and I'm sat here, particularly with the Oculus Rift. I can just put the Rift on, I can sit with a voice attack, and I've got a few basic commands on there for some of the keyboard elements that I have on there, and it's it's nice that you can have that, because I do find even with the excuse me, even with the X52, there's a couple of options I'd really like to have, like next subsystem, previous subsystem, and things like that. I'd like those extra options on there, and I just can't find a button that fits that option. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you can create like little macros and stuff for with using voice attack.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's another thing. I was wondering if like they considered adding voice commands as a default in the game. It's sort of
yeah, I've seen it talked about. I mean, I think it would be an interesting thing. I mean, the guys at Frontier love voice attack and what it adds to the game. So watch this space, so to speak. Maybe that's something.
Is there anything else from the update notes we missed that's important?
I'm not sure. I just want to check on the chat there. T. Corkin, when you've explored data and died, you've lost the money for the data, but then you can't re-explore the same system for that money. Is that a bug? I'm pretty sure someone's reported that, and I seem to recall Michael saying that it was being investigated, so it may not be the intended behaviour. It definitely seems a bit unfair that not only have you lost the money, but you can't even redo your work. So I would think that is possibly a bug on there.
Not playing Elite anymore. Why not? Vonatar 74. Aww.
Oh, what's happened, Vonatar? What's happened? You can join the Elite support group, and we can Elite Anonymous. Although I am starting to think that Kerrash Landing is Elite Anonymous. Oh, scratch the paintwork there on my eagle, my Cobra. Sorry, I should say.
There's one thing here in the release notes. When deciding if we should go hostile to a faction we just shot, consider whether the target has a local bounty rather than a bounty with their own faction. Prevent people being attacked by the police after attack nearby wanted targets.
Yes, I've seen. Yeah, so thank the Lord for that. That is one of those ones. Yeah, it's caused a few problems with people, I think, on there. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately these things crop up. I mean, it's the nature of games. You have these bugs, but that's the great thing about where we live today with modern technology, the internet, things like that. All these things. Normally, you either wouldn't get a patch for the game and it would be permanently broken, or you'd have to write a letter and send off in the post and get a new floppy disk back in 2 weeks' time, and it was really painful. So we've got it easy these days, to be fair. Right, there we go.
He's waiting for more content, apparently, Vonatar.
Oh, right, okay.
Got a clipper, wow.
You've already got up to a clipper, wow, jeez.
And it's kitted out as well. Okay.
Crikey, yo. Well, I want to see you have one of every single ship then. There we go. That's and I think that's the thing. It's the game is all about making your own challenges and things like that. So, you have to find something to challenge yourself in it. And I understand what you mean about more content and stuff. It's hard to find the content in the moment. A lot of the interesting stuff, like I said, is happening in the unidentified signal sources and that sort of stuff. You have to kind of go searching for it. It doesn't jump out at you. It's not quite as obvious as what it is. And I liken it to something like Skyrim. Like once you've done the main quests and missions and you've kind of closed off all those things, you do kind of stand around and wonder and think, well, what do I do now? You know, Elite is more like you know, it's a lot more of those random occurrences which occur as you're wandering down the path, and you kind of see that tomb over there and think, oh, shall I go and investigate that? You know, that's what the gameplay of Elite is all about, is that kind of free, open, sandboxy style gameplay. And I think, you know, as the story starts to ramp up, like I said earlier, and we get these interesting scenarios appearing, we're going to see more story gameplay and things like that come into it. But at the moment, you really have to go hunting for the actual content, which is a shame, really, because like you know, I understand Vonatara's point there, is that it's not obvious. It doesn't jump out to you, and once you've done a bit of everything, it's like, what else do I do now? It's not obvious. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kerrash, will you go for the Type 7 to get a new ship? Sorry, he corrects for the Type 6.
Oh yes, from Ryan Extreme. Yeah, I have played around with the Type 6. I've got enough cash for one. I actually went back to the Cobra for trading, which is the one I've got now. You can see I've got no shields, and I've maxed it out with. Oh, I can't show you. I've got about 56 tons of cargo space on this one, which is pretty good. But I wanted to make a bit more money so that I could not only get the Type 6, but also kit it out with plenty of cargo racks and things like that, and get back to doing some more rare trade runs, which is definitely the good way of making money in this game. So I will get back to that at some point. Maybe in the next stream I can show some more of this stuff with the trade runs. Unfortunately, I haven't had much time in the Cobra tonight. So hopefully next time you see me, I will swap this Cobra out and got the Type 6. I'm definitely keeping the Eagle though, because it is awesome for combat, and I love coming back down to LFT and just jumping in the Eagle, getting a bit of combat, and then, you know, after a little while doing that, jump back into the trade ship and, you know, do a few more trade runs, which is awesome on there.
And Saturn9 asks, do you have plans to go on a big exploration mission?
I'd love to do some exploration stuff. The only thing I've really done so far off the bucket list is I've headed out to Omicron Persei, which I had to do that. That was the one place I really wanted to go. But I want to go out with a full, you know, advanced scanner, detailed surface scanner, do the proper exploration, and hopefully help out the guys at the First Great Expedition a bit more, because I apologise, I've been really lax on that. I've been so busy with so many things that, you know, I have a habit of over volunteering myself for things, and I'm like, yeah, I want to help you with that, I want to do this, yeah, I want to help you, and, you know, I really do. I want to help out with those sort of things. So hopefully I can get involved, even if I'm just ferrying hydrogen fuel back and forth. I'll be happy to help with that.
That would be cool. If you carry canisters of hydrogen fuel, you can drop them for people who have no fuel left.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is an interesting little thing that I brought up on the DDF. I had a bit of a brainstorm. I was driving into work, and these ideas were popping into my head, and I was thinking, you know, currently we don't have that ship-to-ship transfer option available to us. I would like the ability to carry around the empty cargo limpets that you have for, you know, like you can attach onto a ship to the cargo hatch disruptor and things like that. You can get the empty limpets, and I think they also work for drones and whatnot and things like that. Agrican, oh, see you later. I'd like the ability to carry around empty limpets in my exploration vessel, have a fuel scoop attached to my ship, and then I can scoop up enough fuel to fill a limpet from my reserve tank and create 1 ton of hydrogen fuel as a tradable commodity. And I think that would be a great little mechanic, because it would also mean then that if I go into my cargo view and choose to abandon that cargo, I can drop it for a nearby player. So if a player is completely stranded and they've run out of fuel, and you kind of fall, you know, at the moment you get stuck and there's no distress beacon, there's no option other than to self-destruct or run out of fuel, which is really unfortunate. I think that would be a really nice mechanic to do, and you know, it kind of opens up that doorway to, if you're out and exploring, you might find the odd NPC which is stranded and say, hey, you know, helps, you know, drop me some fuel and I'll give you 20,000 credits, you know, something like that, you know, which would be a nice little bonus kind of thing to happen when you're exploring. So you know, little ideas like this, I love the fact that we can post them up and they get considered by Frontier. So fingers crossed.
Definitely.
Dobbo, we need multiple commanders. Yeah, and Michael Brooks said it's not going to happen soon. like I said, I mean, it's nice that it's being considered. I really want to do it as well. Like I said, I like the idea of trying a little bit of this gameplay, a little bit of that gameplay. But at the moment, I'm getting around that by, I park up the Eagle, go do a little bit of this, and then jump in the Cobra or something to do some trading and things like that. So you can kind of work around it the most. But I can understand for explorers, it is a real bind because it means that you just cannot do anything if you're miles and miles and miles out from anywhere, and you just want to go back and do a little bit of combat. You've just got no option to do that at the moment. If you choose to go down the path of go down the route of the life of an explorer, you are basically a complete lone wolf. You are going to be stranded for a long period of time in the gameplay, which is unfortunate. Which is why I'd like to see mechanics like I just suggested, which kind of encourage a bit more of a cooperative stuff there.
Yep, indeed.
Commander Malik there, 16 ton of fuel costs hundreds in a Viper and tens of thousands in a big ship. Yeah, I mean, they're obviously, it's not a perfect idea. It was just an idea I came up with on the drive to work, thinking, would that be possible? Could you have a bunch of smaller ships going around, scooping up loads of fuel, coming back, dropping 100 tons for a big Anaconda or a Aspect Explorer or something like that? I don't know. Would it work? What are the downsides? What are the benefits of that sort of thing? But it's great that the forum's open for us to continue to put those suggestions and ideas forward.
Yep, indeed.
Any more questions, really quickly? Yeah, I think what Omnivorous is just saying there with Saturnine as well. Yeah, without multiple commander slots, you would never go exploring. I think I kind of touched on that. It does kind of, it breaks the game up. Like if you choose to go exploring, it's like you're just going to have to do that for literally days and days and days. You're not going to be able to kind of say, today I want to do a bit of combat. You kind of lose that option by doing that without multiple commanders, which is unfortunate at the moment.
Fit in a C6 fuel scoop, aka the Star Dimmer.
Yeah, Toad has got a good point there. Yeah, a Class 6 fuel scoop. That's sucking it down like no one's business. It's a bit of a difference from the old teacup on the Class 1 to you begin with. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I would like to see that myself. Ryan Extreme, wonder if the queue system will be working properly as the red and green traffic lights are not doing much. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those nice touches that they've put in the red and green lights at the front of the space station. If people aren't going to pay attention to the lights, they're just not going to work, are they? But I think it's kind of harsh to give someone a ticket if they go through on the red side, isn't it? It's bad enough that you get a fine on your head for coming in without clearance.
Well, that's true, but I pay attention to those lights, but strange enough, the NPCs don't. So I'm like, well, what's
straight down the middle or nothing, isn't it? Sort of thing. Yeah. But I mean, it'd be nice to see some incremental tweaks like that on there. I tell you, one visual thing I really want to see is commanders sat in the seats of the ships.
When that guy approached you earlier this evening, I was like, oh, why can't you see the pilot?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an unfortunate exclusion at the moment. They've, even if it's just a static model sat there, come on, something, just something.
Yeah,
exactly. But I know they've got a lot more important things to work through at the moment. But that's one of my nice to haves. I mean, also in the area where you land, you see the little windows with like the control tower there. Just a couple of little people walking around. Just NPCs, characters walking back and forth. That'd be great. Nice little touch.
Yeah.
It would really make it kind of connect that experience of it being a lived-in environment. That would be cool. No more questions, I think, on there. I missed the one from some of there. 2 saves is kind of cheating. I kind of said I think this is where the problem is. Having multiple commanders becomes a bit of a balancing issue. How do you get around it? So there's a lot of things to consider, and I think that's often overlooked in anything in games design. Is that people think, oh, just add this. It's really simple, and it's like, well, even if it is simple, there's a lot of possibilities that you need to consider before you just go away and add a feature into the game. It might break a lot of things for a lot of people. So you can't just add something in like, hey, we've put in the ultimate mega kill weapon, go nuts, and then people are turning around, this is way overpowered, we can't use it. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I work in software development myself, and the 2 guys I work with, they're full-blown software engineers, and I'll mention something, and they'll bombard me with 600 questions,
like,
as things I never thought about.
yeah, I do it myself, and I often I'm guilty of the fact that I kind of. When people suggest things like I do exactly the same thing. I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? In this scenario, if if they decide to do this before they do the thing you just said, that's going to break it because it would, and I think that's just one of those crazy developer brain things that you just think in these kind of like lateral ways and all these different parallel thoughts and everything. So
Yep,
yeah, it's
definitely.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, that's just the way I am.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, yeah. But I think we've just about wrapped it up for the evening. I think we've gone over everything in the newsletter. Yep, I think we've got everything in there. We've got everyone's questions on there. So I think we will call it a day at this point.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Ian, for joining in, helping out tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Ah, no problem at all. And thank you for all of your help over the last year in the chat. I think this is going to be Crash Landing episode 90, would you believe? So
Wow.
we've been going for a while. I think
Just keep going, Chris.
Yeah,
just keep going.
Keep going. No, it is really, really great fun. I really do appreciate the support from the community, and it's great to interact with you. And like I said, just helping people out, giving those tips, that feedback, the interaction with everyone is what I enjoy most, and sharing the knowledge about things. So I really do enjoy that. So to everyone out there, thank you very much for joining tonight. Hopefully we'll see you again next week and give you some more interesting, juicy gossip. But until next week, we'll see you in the void, Commanders.
Bye-bye.